Hallo und guten Abend. Ich bin Herr Moore und ich bin der Deutschlehrer Ihres Kindes. So, good evening. I'm Jeff Moore and I'm the German teacher for your child this year. Today we're going to be going over some of what your child is learning this year. But first I want to kind of introduce myself a little bit so you know who is teaching your child. I've been working at the district now for 21 years. I spent my first 11 years at the middle school, and then 10 years ago I came up to the high school. I've been teaching Germans 1, 2, and 3 up here, together with my colleague, Frau Berling, who usually teaches German 3, 4, and AP. I got my start in languages back in high school. I did take 3 years of Spanish. And Spanish was fun. I had a great teacher, but it didn't really speak to me, and I had a hard time learning it. When I was a junior in high school, I went to Denmark for a year, and I spent time there living with a family, with 3 families actually. I moved between 3 families over the course of the year that did not speak a word of English, so I was forced right away to learn Danish. And within 3 months, I was actually able to dream in the language. And so that's really informed part of my philosophy on teaching language, and that is to immerse ourselves in the language as much as possible. Upon returning from Denmark, I started college. I went to Bowling Green State University, and that is where I first started taking German. I was 18 years old as a freshman. So your child is already way ahead of the game here, and you can see it's never too late to start learning a language. But I still knew that I needed that immersion. And so while studying at Bowling Green, I took part in a program and went to Bamberg, Germany, which is in Bavaria, and spent a year learning German there. Later, I was able to spend another semester in Salzburg, Austria, where I was perfecting some more. While studying in Germany, it's where I met my future wife, who is from Hungary. And so you never know what could happen if your child decides to go overseas to study, what they might bring back. My wife and I now have 2 children. Isabel is 11 years old and going into 6th grade, and Hannah is 14 years old and going to be a freshman this year. Later on, I did also get my master's in teaching English as a second language at Cleveland State University. And a couple years later, I decided I need to go back to Germany to learn even more. So I took part in a Fulbright teacher exchange and went and taught English in Germany for a year. I am still involved very much with exchange programs, and you'll see at the bottom of the screen there that I often chaperone a Friendship Connection program, and I'll tell you a little bit more about the Friendship Connection later. So if we move on here, I'd like to let you all know that conferences will be November 4th from 4 to 7, so mark your calendars. If you need anything before then, you can always email me at morejp@bbhcsd.org, or you can leave me a voicemail at 440-740-4568. I'll get back to you as soon as I can. As I said, I believe very much in the immersion classroom philosophy. So 90% of our class will be taught in German. That can be a little frustrating at first for your child, but trust me, it is better in the long run. We learn when we're a little uncomfortable, and we have to memorize the language in order to keep up. I am flexible. I'm not going to embarrass a child or be angry if we don't understand something, but we need that kind of the stress in order to make learning happen. I reserve 10% of the language then for talking about grammar or any cultural concepts that we're not quite ready for in the language. If your child still needs help, it's a little difficult this year. I am traveling between buildings. I spend the morning at the high school teaching German 1 and 2, and then I go down to the middle school in the afternoon and teach German 1 down there. So I am still available, though, anytime before school starts, as well as first period and fifth period. If your child needs help outside of those times, please email me, call me, or Frau Berling, my colleague here next door, is willing to help. And we also have German Honor Society students who are more than willing to meet either once or for tutoring anytime during the year. I'd also like to let you know that for all formatives, that is quizzes and small grades along the way, your child can retake those if they feel they didn't do as well as they wanted to. Just let me know, and we can retake that the next day, and I'll give them an equivalent assessment and replace the grade. Homework is typically every night should take 5 to 10 minutes, no more. And if that is missing, if the child forgets, they can turn it in the next day for half credit. I do not checking that for accuracy. I just want everyone to be thinking about German, and that's really kind of the point of it, getting those connections in your mind. For summative assessments, those are your larger assessments, and for those, you should have learned everything in class, and if it wasn't done, then your child's going to have to meet with me. We have a process where we go through and meet, go over the test, and come up with some strategies on how to better learn the concept before retaking it. And again, you can replace the grade there. So ultimately, the grade that you have at the end of the quarter is kind of your child's choice here on how much they want to work towards improving their grade, since they have multiple chances to replace any of the grades they're not happy with. Proficiency levels, I wanted to briefly say here in levels 1, we're looking at going through a novice low, novice mid. That means they're able to form some basic sentences, put a subject and verb with something coming after, whether it be an object, prepositional phrase, or time element, to communicate some basic ideas. In level 1, that's mostly going to entail talking about things that are happening in their lives, things that are very egocentric for them, like talking about their family, their class schedule, if they have any pets, their hobbies, free time activities, things that they would do when introducing themselves. In level 2, we're going to be expanding on those ideas, and we're going to be throwing in forming the past tense so they can talk about things that happened to them. As far as vocabulary goes, it's going to be spreading out, giving them more of a wider world. What's going to happen for survival German, if you will. This will be then, if they were to land in Germany, could they buy a ticket at a train station? Can they navigate an airport? Can they check into a hotel? Can they go visit someone's home and find their way around the house, ask for where the bathroom is, important things like that. And in level 3, we get into more complicated structures there with using compound sentences and conjunctions to make more complicated ideas, comparing and contrasting the two cultures. In level 3, you'll end up reading grim fairy tales and writing your own. So some fun things there with the language. Again, starting in when your child's 15 years old, they're eligible for the Friendship Connection. Please look this up. It's a program that we really encourage, and students have been doing it now for 7 years at Brecksville. It's a 4-week exchange if they're interested. You would be asked to host for 4 weeks in the spring. The child from Germany would come and stay with you and shadow your child through classes for 4 weeks. And then if you would like, in the summer, your child then has the opportunity to go back to Germany to visit that child for 4 weeks at the cost of a plane ticket. You're not going to find a better priced program out there. So that's one that we really encourage and hold that out there as kind of a motivational tool. But there are other motivations too. German Club is available for students first year through AP. We'll see how we can do. We're still having some difficulties here with COVID, but once COVID's over, this is a great opportunity. The National German Exam is something that students take every year, levels 1 through AP, and this gives them a chance to kind of see how they're doing in their language abilities compared with other students in Ohio and across the entire United States. And then they'll get a certificate if they place in the top 50%, and they'll get medals for placing in the top 30%, 20%, and 10%. If they also place in the top 10%, they have a chance of winning. Their name is put into a drawing, and they have to do some interviews, and they have a chance to win a all expenses paid trip to Germany in the summer. And we've had 2 students go on that trip. We've had another 2 students actually win it, but due to COVID, they weren't able to participate. There are very good chances that your child could get this award and put it on their resume and really make them feel good about their language connection. Friendship Connection, I already mentioned there is that exchange program. The National German Honor Society is something available for juniors and seniors. If they participate in German Club and continue taking German through their junior and senior year, they can join this. And then at graduation, they get to wear specially colored cords, and they can put this on their resume and college applications, and it kind of shows that they have committed themselves to the German language. Also, as we're getting ready for the pathway to graduation, the seal of biliteracy is one of the seals that your child can get to towards graduation. This would require them in levels 4 or AP to take several tests to show their fluency in the language. And lastly, the AP exam for students in their 5th year is a great way of getting college credit while still in high school, so that when they do start college, they can already be testing out of language completely or testing ahead of some of those basic levels, thus saving you some money. So that's always worthwhile. There you can kind of see what students are able to do at the various levels of instruction. Okay, I do have here some links that might be valuable. I would definitely suggest that your child download the Leo app on their phone. Here's some other apps that are very worthwhile on having on your phone to practice. Maybe you want to have it on your phone so that you can practice German and learn alongside your child. Duolingo is a great one. Quizlet is a study guide with lots of note cards online. You go ahead and join my class here, and you can practice the flashcards. Also YouTube videos and things like that. Parents often ask what they can do to help their child in German if they find they're having difficulties. Other than what I suggested earlier about meeting with me, Frau Berling, or the National German Honor Society students, you can also have your child try to teach you the material. Often by explaining it to you, they're able to better understand it themselves. Well, I hope I was able to help here with explaining the German program here at Brexville-Broadview Heights. We do have one of the strongest German programs in the state of Ohio, and that's mostly due to how well Frau Berling and I are able to work together in honing this program, and also on the students that we have coming to us, that they're choosing to take German, and they choose it because they love it, and we become a family by the end of the year. Well, thank you very much, and I look forward to working with your child and possibly from hearing from you this year. Have a great evening.